Hello, it's Matt Lomas in the house, well, in the garage. I've just come in the garage. I've just been bouncing some ideas around, so I thought I'd quickly share a few bits with you that I think you will find incredibly helpful. Based on the people that I've been talking to recently, I've been speaking to a ton of people, speaking to a ton of lads that essentially, are struggling to drop body fat, they're struggling to get in shape. I think I've spoke to 600 people over the last 3 months, so I get a good understanding of what everybody's struggling with. So I just wanted to quickly run something through with you that I think you'll find valuable, because the main reason that I'm seeing why most lads struggle with dropping body fat and getting in shape is essentially because they don't understand themselves. They don't understand their own body type. They don't understand their own metabolism. So then it just becomes a guessing game, right? Everything's a guessing game. So I want to show you a process that I use with my guys, what I teach, all my clients and all that, that if you use will just be so beneficial for you, like it'll blow your socks off. If you use this for the next 6 months, I promise you it will completely change the way you go about dieting. It will completely change the way you look, basically. You'll be able to just drop body fat at will, right? Now, one of the main reasons most people struggle with dieting and dropping fat is because in the beginning, it takes some testing, it takes some work to figure out what your body type and metabolism is really like, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly flip the camera around and just show you this, what I've just been doing on the whiteboard. All right, I'll just flip the camera around. Right, so what I wanted to show you was just this little diagram here, right? So when somebody starts dieting out, right, when somebody starts dieting down, we have to essentially hypothesize where you might be in terms of the amount of food that you can eat day to day. So the number one rule of dieting, the most important thing ever, when it comes to dieting, dropping body fat, the most important thing is always going to be calories. Calories is always and will always be the most important thing, right? So the first job that we have is we have to figure out where our body's at. We have to understand for the amount of body fat and for the amount of lean mass that you've got. So your lean mass is all your organs, all your muscle tissue, your bone, like everything apart from your body fat, right? So your lean mass is your lean mass and your body fat is your body fat, all right? So we need to know roughly how much energy, how many calories that needs day to day, right? So if we use an example, let's use me as an example, right? So for me, I know for the amount of body fat that I've got right now, for the amount of body fat and for the amount of lean mass that I've got right now, I can eat roughly 3,000 calories a day. Now that number for you, this number here for you is going to be different, right? You're not me. So we have to figure that stuff out, right? And this is why so many people struggle with dieting, because they don't go through the effort to find out where their body's at, to really, really understand their own body type, their own metabolism, how much food you can eat day to day, right? So if this is where I'm at right now, then the next question is, right, if I know I can sustain my weight, my body fat levels at that amount of food per day, then what we need to do is we need to say, right, now we want to drop body fat. Now that we want to drop body fat, we have to put ourselves in a negative energy balance, right? We have to put ourselves in a negative energy balance for that to happen, okay? Because then our body's going to use the reserves that it's got, aka body fat, right? Now, here's what's even more important. This is what typically happens without people realizing it. So so I will say, this is me back when I were 18, 19, 20, and I had no idea what I was doing with dieting and dropping fat. what I would do without even realizing it, because I didn't know this number here, what I would do is, without even realizing it, I would bring my calories down to as little, and for a lot of the time, a lot lower than 1,500 calories per day. Now, the issue with that is we create an energy gap here, right? So my body's at 3,000 a day, but I'm trying to diet on 1,500 a day, right? So can you see how big that energy gap is, or can you see how big the energy gap is created? You know, can you see that? I in that specific situation, I would just, within a week or two, I would just be so hungry that my body would just fight me and give me that irresistible hunger, right? We get all these hormones that get pumped out to just ensure that we eat, right? And it gets to the point of you just cannot resist yourself to eat, right? And that's why, because this energy gap here is just too great. The gap's just too great. So we have to come up with a strategy. We have to come up with a way that we can sustain our approach, right? And the way that we do that is by coming down in stages, essentially. So just for the sake of this, I'm just going to put one in here, right? So for this very same example, right, instead of trying to diet on 1,500 calories a day, all I would need to do, right, is go in at a certain level of what I call fat loss aggression, right? So instead of trying to be in a 1,500 deficit and a 1,500 negative energy balance, all I would need to do is knock out 700 calories, let's say, which would give me anywhere between 1 and 3 pounds of body fat drop per week, probably 1 and 2 pounds. So can you see how now that energy gap has been closed to only that? So it's gone from that to only that. So then that now gives us the ability to diet long term. This shouldn't even feel like I'm dieting at this point, right? Until I start getting down to single digit body fat levels, it shouldn't even feel like I'm dieting, right? And this is a big, big thing that I see guys struggling with, because they're going way too aggressive out of the gate without even realizing it. They're chopping their food right down, and it's just getting to the point of you just can't sustain it. It's just not a sustainable approach. So you get 1, 2, 3. I mean, I used to tough this out for 7 or 8 weeks, and then, you know, I'd end up in Tesco's just absolutely smashing chocolate and driving through KFC and everything. So that's the reason why, right? That's the main reason why. Now, with you, like I said before, this number, you don't know until you start doing this stuff, which is what I want to talk about now. So I've come up with a process that I call complete tracking, right? So complete tracking, this is not to put you off. It's not to, be all weird around food or anything like that. It's a process that unfortunately, I wish it wasn't, but unfortunately, everybody has to go through this process. If you really want to understand yourself, if you really want to understand your own body, and how to essentially get down to whatever body fat levels you desire, you have to go through this process for a minimum of 6 months. So this is how it goes. This is how you find out what your body's like, right? So this number for you, I mean, this number could be, I mean, we've got guys at, this could be 4,000, this could be 2,100. That number is just so different for everybody, and that's why people struggle, because they look at everybody else, they see what everybody else is doing, and then they try to model that, but it doesn't work because it's not you, right? So how do we figure this stuff out then? So I use a process called complete tracking, right? So complete tracking essentially is made up of these 3 components. So we need to track as food, right? Which can either be, you can just literally write it down in a little notebook or on a piece of paper, or, these days we have apps. I used to do it on just on pen and paper years ago, but obviously now we've got apps like MyFitnessPal and things like that, make it incredibly easy to see what you're eating every day, right? So you can scan barcodes of food packaging and all that kind of stuff, and it just makes it so easy for you to be able to just see what you're eating in terms of caloric value, right? And not only that, it gives you the ability to really understand food, right? I mean, I can look at a plate of food and I can know within 100 calories what's on that plate of food. Now, if I'd have not tracked my food for 3 years straight, then I would have never have known that stuff, right? So, unfortunately, you know, in my opinion, obviously, not everybody really wants to track their food. I don't really want to track my food, but it just gives you so much power. It gives you so much insight into food. It's just incredible, right? So that's the first pillar of complete tracking. The second part of it is weighing daily, right? So if we know how much food's coming in every day, and we can see how our body is responding to that amount of food, then it becomes very simple. We know if we're in a deficit, we know if we're gaining weight, losing weight, whatever. And then that gives us the ability to have a play around with this stuff, right? So we're tracking his food, we're weighing daily to see how our body's responding to that amount of food that we're eating. And then once a week, we're also taking a body fat measurement, can be the Navy SEALs measurement or whatever type of measurement, something in the gym, one of the machines in the gym, anything like that. You want to do that once a week because obviously your weight isn't always an indication of, you know, whether you're dropping body fat or not. So that's how you figure this stuff out. And you know, it's a process that you have to take yourself through. I mean, I just wrote on the board there, like, you want to do that for at least 6 months, because then you're going to have a real understanding of food. You're going to understand food on a really deep level, which is just so important for long-term success. And you're also going to understand yourself, right? So the better you can understand food and the better you can understand yourself, the greater results you're going to have, right? So that's how you figure it out. And that is what happens. You have to figure this stuff out. And unfortunately, you know, that's why people will struggle forever, you know, because it's a process that you have to go through. It's a bit of a trial and error process of finding stuff out. You know, I mean, we've got guys that, I mean, I work with, and some of them, you know, they have to start on 1700 calories a day to drop body fat, right? But that's their body type, that's their metabolism. Some other guys, some guys I know can eat 5,000 calories a day and not gain body fat. So yeah, so if you really want to learn this stuff, if you really want to, if you really want to get a hold of it and really make a difference and really have control of your body fat levels, do this stuff. You know, this is what's going to get you the results, you know, and it's what's going to enable you to be in control of your body fat levels forever. You know, you do a bit of upfront work, and then, you know, it becomes, once you understand this stuff, what I've just shown you here, after the first 6 months, it becomes so easy to get in shape. It's a joke, like, seriously. So, but yeah, anyway, I hope that helps. It is Friday night, and I am just gonna go and get something to eat because I've not had anything for a while. So, thanks for watching. I hope you're well, and we'll chat soon.